Welcome back, guys. Episode 8. Starts off with Helen's HOH win, which I'm still really fucking excited about. We go into the house and we see Gina Marie crying like a little bitch in the bathroom, and Aaron's trying to bring her out, telling her we need to compete in this HOH competition. You have to calm down. Candace is in the bathroom as well. So what ends up happening? Of course, Arian and Caitlin have to gang up on her. They start pressing her for what her vote was, blah, 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 blah. Caitlin's all mad because someone lied to her in Big Brother. Oh my god, it's so unheard of. What a stupid bitch. Open your mouth, take your foot, and shove it in there, will ya? Go into the kitchen and we see Gina Marie. She's like freaking the fuck out in the kitchen, screaming at everybody, threatening them in the game, telling them, you seen my muscles? You know my attitude? Something about cellulite? I don't know. I wasn't really listening to her. It's gotten to the point where Arian has been so out of line that even Jeremy is jumping ship, and he went into the have-not room to congratulate Helen on her gameplay and Alyssa on her gameplay for being able to avoid eviction 2 weeks in a row when everybody wanted her out. Arian and Caitlin are talking about the votes, and they're sort of starting to realize, this was their words, not mine, that their alliance is starting to be a minority in the house. Smug bitch. Even more drama is being started by Arian and Caitlin again. We go into the colorful bedroom, and they're getting all mad at Jessie because she didn't vote the way that she said she was going to. Caitlin is yelling at her, I gave you hugs all the time, as if that's a reason to keep somebody in an alliance. Not, gameplay, strategy, what's good for your own fucking game. Her and Aaron are so stupid, they should just put their head in the front door and slam it. Her and Aaron, Judd comes into the room hearing all the screaming that's going on to try and defuse the situation, and Caitlin looks at him and yells, get the fuck out of here, Judd! She is fucking crazy. They even go so as to insult the girl, who they were just getting angry at for leaving their alliance, calling her a slutty bitch, making fun of her for being in 5 attempted showmances. That's a good way to get people to be on your side. Strip them down to the bone about their character. So Judd ends up taking Jessie and just kind of leaving the room. Candace comes in after all of this has happened, and she notices that Aaron has flipped her bed over and thrown her pillows all around the room. In my opinion, just the perception of, I don't know where she thinks she can get away with saying things like this. Anyway, Candace flips the bed back over and sort of confronts Aaron about it, being like, don't do that again. Just kind of lets her know that she's upset. So what does Aaron do? Aaron starts mocking her in this ghetto voice, as she would have put it, I guess, being like, what you gonna do, girl? What you gonna do? It was just so inappropriate and rude. I don't understand where she thinks that what she says to people inside of this house lately is inside of the game. She's making fun of people for things that they can't change about themselves, like being black or being Chinese, being homosexual. These are things that we can't change, and quite frankly, we wouldn't change them if we could. So I don't know where she thinks she gets off being like that. Aaron even calls Candace Shaniqua and then just keeps making fun of her in a ghetto voice. The argument gets kind of heated, and Gina Marie actually stands up, gets like that far from Candace's face, and starts screaming at her. She yelled something about segregation of the house and the races inside the house. I don't know where she gets off saying ignorant shit like that. I hope to God that CBS allows the audience to boo them when they get evicted. This argument between Gina Marie and Candace got so heated, Howard came into the room again, picks Candace up, and literally carries her out of the room over his shoulder. They're screaming at her the whole way out, and then after they leave, the Mean Girls Alliance just starts talking about how they've done nothing wrong, and they're so nice, and blah, 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 blah. God, they make me sick. In the next room over, Howard is trying to console Candace. I really like Howard because this is not something that the players in this game should have to deal with or be subjected to at any time in their lives, really, even outside of the house. I'm really glad that even though his game is at risk, Howard isn't afraid to jump into the situation and pull somebody out of it or say something to somebody over these comments being said. He didn't go into that house to have to defend anybody. He isn't obligated to defend anybody, but he's a good guy and he jumps in and does it anyway. I really like Howard. I just can't imagine how much it must suck for them being inside of that house with those ignorant girls, because they're not really playing a game where they can stand up for themselves and speak up like they would outside of the house and defend themselves. We finally get to the have-not competition. It's basically just an assembly line of the players on each team. They have to throw rotten milk out of buckets, catching it into their own bucket, going down the assembly line to fill a container at the end. First two teams to fill the containers being halves for that week. The best part about this competition was because Howard was on a team with Gina Marie, Erin, and Caitlin. He was totally 100% willing to throw the competition and even be on slop with them just so those miserable bitches starve for the entire week and have to take cold showers. He was just like throwing the milk in Arian's face, not even trying to get it in the bucket. Accidentally throwing the bucket outside of the container, accidentally falling into the rotten milk all the way, accidentally dropping the bucket. He was trying so hard in every way that he could to fail this competition. Yet for some reason, McCrae just happened to suck harder at doing this one simple task, and they ended up losing to the guy who was trying to throw the competition. Way to go, Pizza Boy! You had one task! The yellow team ends up being the losing team, so Amanda, McCrae, Judd, and Candace are all going to be have-nots for the week. Howard ends up talking to Helen in the HOH room, and he reveals to Helen that he had voted to evict Alyssa in the past week's eviction. She was really betrayed by this information and started crying even. I think the crying was fake personally, but from Helen having past knowledge of the moving company alliance, she tried to test Howard, asking him if this had existed, asking him if there was anything else that he was involved in that he wanted to talk about, kind of just testing him to see if he would come clean. Unfortunately, he fails the test. He didn't come clean to Helen, and Helen knows this, so now he's an even bigger target on her radar because he's lied to her straight through his teeth, and she knows. It's not looking good for Howard. Finally get around to the nomination ceremony. Alyssa's key is the first one to come out of that nomination box. She looked so happy. Arian and Caitlin are the two that are nominated this week. They don't look too surprised when everything is said and done. Caitlin even comments on how she thinks she chose the wrong side of the house as her alliance now that it's a sinking ship, and she's kind of shot herself in the foot by aligning with the people that she aligned with. Anyway though, that's the end of episode 8. Looking forward to recapping episode 9 for you guys. Sorry my videos are so late. I'll try not to be a douche canoe and procrastinate as much as I do. Later, guys.